Hey y'all, good morning. I'm Sherilyn. This is Just Goodness 333 Little Homestead. Today we're going to be making sauerkraut. Actually, we're going to be doing what's called fermenting sauerkraut. We're going to be fermenting cabbage, and I've got some organic carrots here. And I'm also going to show you some other vegetables that I have fermented. The reason we need fermented vegetables is to build the microbiome in our gut. Gut health is of the utmost importance. It is where your immune system is housed, and it's what fuels your body. It's also where disease begins. There are a lot of hidden dangers in a lot of the new types of foods that we eat, and a lot of us don't have a perfect diet. But one thing we can do, something so simple, easy to make, delicious, and really good for you. So come along. I have these two cabbages here, and these are just organic cabbages that I bought at my grocery store. And it's not the season here. We're in summertime. This is July 2020, and it is definitely not the season to be growing cabbages here in South Florida. What I'm going to do first with these is I'm going to remove the outer leaves, just a few. We're going to set these aside, and I want to show you how you can use them later. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take out the core of this cabbage. The core is a little harder, it's more dense, and it doesn't taste that great. It can sometimes be pretty bitter. I'm just going to cut down along each side, leaving the core in the middle. Next, we're just going to grind up all this cabbage. Okay, I have those two heads of cabbage all shredded, minus the outer leaves and the core. The next thing we're going to do to this is we're going to add, my cabbages weren't large. This is where it gets a little, you're going to have to do a little figuring. I have two medium-sized cabbages. I'm going to use 1.5 tablespoons of salt. I'm going to sprinkle this in. And about a half. We're going to massage this into the cabbage, and I'm going to probably bring you over here for this. Okay, we have our salt at the top. We have our shredded cabbage. I did end up with a few big pieces. That's just something that happens with my manual processor. But we're going to massage this in because the salt will sweat the vegetables. And we're going to do this, mash really hard. This is going to start breaking down the fibers. Cabbage holds a lot of fluid, a lot of liquid. This is going to start breaking down those fibers and creating, can you see this? There's already juices flowing. So I'm going to continue to massage this, and then we're going to leave it sit for about 15 minutes. I'm going to massage for maybe about 5 minutes. Another option you could use if you don't want to put your hands in here, I have this, it's called a pickle packer, and it has seen better days. I almost caught it on fire, and I use this to mash elderberries. You can also just use it like a mortar and pestle if you don't want to get your hands all in that. So while the cabbage is sweating, building up all those nice juices, I'm going to show you my fermented carrots. I love these. And so you can see they're almost gone. We're going to do some more. I'm going to pour off this brine. I'm going to save this. Let me come over there. I did these carrots several months ago, and I just want you to see, I'm sorry, I have cabbage in my mouth. I was nibbling on the cabbage. So I did these carrots months ago, And I want you to see just how crispy they still are. Very crunchy. And you hear this? Listen up close. And they're really good. They're very tangy. They almost have a vinegary taste to them. It's not like pickled vegetables. It has a pretty rich flavor. And they're really good for you. You guys should try these. Okay, we're not going to shred these carrots. We're going to leave them. These are just organic baby carrots purchased at the grocery store. I'm going to use the same jar because all that goodness is still in there. I'm just going to dump these carrots into the jar. We're going to want to keep the contents of the jar down here around the shoulders of the jar. This is a wide mouth quart jar. There we go. And now we need to make a brine for this. With the cabbage, we put the salt directly on the vegetable. With this, I want to make a brine. So I'm going to take 1 good tablespoon of salt. I want you guys to use real salt. You can use salt that's labeled real salt. I'm using pink Himalayan salt. You can use canning salt. You don't want to use those iodized table salts because they have certain things in them. Well, number one, they're not super healthy for you. They're not going to be the best for growing the right kind of goodness you want in this jar. I'm just going to shake this until it's all dissolved. And before I put this in here, I'm going to add a clove of garlic. You can season these things up. If you want to put garlic, onions, anything, apples, whatever you want. There's all kinds of recipes for sauerkraut. I'm going to put like 1 clove of garlic in here. And I'm going to put 6 or 7 cloves. I love cloves in fermented foods. 1, 2. Now I don't like the idea of garlic and cinnamon, but if you didn't want to do the garlic, if you don't like those robust flavors, you could also do cloves and you could put a couple of cinnamon sticks in there. And this is so super easy. Our salt is dissolved. I'm just going to pour it over the top. I'm going to come up to about that, at least the 1-inch head space, probably a little above. But I want to show you guys a couple of different options. Do you remember I told you could keep the cabbage leaves? We could use these for other things. If you don't have any fermenting tools, if you don't have weights that will keep this down, keep the vegetables down below the brine. It's extremely important because you want to keep them oxygen free, and keeping them under the brine is going to do that. If they get up above the brine, they're going to touch oxygen and there's a possibility for contamination or mold. So we could take a cabbage leaf and tuck this in. You would want to tuck it in down around the shoulders to where it's under the liquid, but it's not going to allow those carrots or anything you're fermenting to rise above the liquid. I have something else I want to show you. Now you can also just take a small Ziploc bag like this and fill it up about halfway with water until you have, and you can seal it shut, and then you can just mold it and put it in here. Make sure there's enough water that it's going to fill this area, but not too much water that it'll be bulging out of the top. Let me show you what I use. These are glass weights. I got these online. Now you can order an entire kit from a company called Mason Tops, an entire fermenting kit. There's also other fermenting lids, so you can do your research and find out which ones you like. I purchase my stuff separately and not in a kit, just a little at a time. These are glass weights, and they have this amazing little handle that you can pick it up, lift it up and down with, and I love these. I'll put a link to these in the description below. Now I also have these fermenting lids. These lids are, you know what they remind me of? When my kids were little, we had those bottles with the big rubbery nipples, and you had the bags, and so you put the formula in at the bottom in the bag in this hollow bottle. I don't know if any of you guys remember those, because it just reminds me of that. Look at this. And what this has, it has this little hole right here. Hope you can see that. I hope the camera's focusing on that. It has this little hole right here, and it's going to allow the gases and everything to escape, but it's not going to allow any air to get in. That's going to be awesome. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and set the weight right here in the top. Now this little fermenting lid, it comes just by itself like this, and you can use it with the rings that come with your regular canning jars. They come in wide mouth. You want to make sure you have a wide mouth ring. I'm going to set that on top, screw this down, put it on a shelf outside of direct sunlight for approximately 5 days. Now you can test it after 5 days, and if it doesn't have enough ba-bang flavor for you, you can just leave it and test it every few days after. You may want to leave it a week, a little later. It all depends on you. But as soon as you like the taste, which I do 5 days, maybe 6, as soon as you like the taste and the flavor, you're going to want to remove this lid, remove the weight, and you can use just the regular canning lids, or you can get lids like this. They come in brown, they come in white. This is black, I think. Black and white, like this one. You can usually buy these wherever canning supplies are sold. Another thing you could use this for, if you don't have these fermenting lids and you don't want to purchase anything, let's just say you've got your little Ziploc baggie full of water or your big cabbage leaf in here, and you really just don't want to invest because you're not sure if you like this system or not. So let's just say you've got your veggies weighted down. We're going to take one of these plastic lids and just sit it on the top. Do not, just give it a tiny turn just where it's sitting there. It's not, it can still rattle, and it's going to allow the gases to escape, but it's not going to allow any air to get down in there. Not a lot. And this is good. And then you're going to want to sit this in a dish, because it may, as the fermentation builds up and the gases build up, you may have a little bit of seepage out of the top. I recommend that you eat fermented vegetables, drink fermented vegetable juice. You can drink this right. I mean, it tastes salty, has a little bit of garlicky flavor, but this is so good for your gut and your intestines and your overall health. I also will try to link a Facebook page to a girl that I'm following who is an all-natural health coach, and her name is Nicole, and she's fabulous. And I am going to link her Facebook page below, and she has all kinds of insight on gut health. She has some great teachings on your gut health. So this is this, and I'm going to go put this on the shelf out of direct sunlight, and we'll come check it again in about 5 days. Okay, now this cabbage has been sweating while we were fermenting the carrots and preparing them. This is there's not a whole lot of juice in here. I don't want to add any more salt. What I'm going to do is, after I put it in here, I'll top it off with the rest of this brine if need be. Now I'm going to make a mess. I'll just forewarn you guys. I'm going to push this in here. And I'm going to use my packer and pack this in. Okay, I'm going to take what was left of my brine and I'm going to pour it over the top of this. There's some bubbles coming up. Alright, now I have the cabbage and stuff right here to the 1-inch headspace. I'm going to drop in my weight. Then I'm just gonna clean off that top right there. Let me show you what this looks like so you can see what it needs to look like when you're done. Okay, here you go. Our weight is right here at the top, and all of the liquid is free to move around the top here, and all of the cabbage is under there. As with the other things, you could put in garlic, you could put in all sorts of other stuff. We're just going to go for straight sauerkraut this time. Put our little fermenting lid on there, put our ring on there, and just like that, you've made sauerkraut. In 5 days, this is going to be amazing sauerkraut. So I am going to test this in 5 days, and if it's the flavor we want, we're going to take out the weights, take off these lids, and then we're going to cap them and put them in the refrigerator. When you put them in the refrigerator, it stops the fermenting process because it cools everything down and they're no longer reproducing. This will be good in your refrigerator up to 6 months. There you go. That's how easy it is to ferment veggies. So what are you waiting for? Here we go. I have fermented beets, and I just put the beets in, chopped them up, put them in here and put them in the brine. They're still just as crunchy as when they went in. I have also, I love to grow green beans in the wintertime here, and I have fermented these green beans. So I love to have these as a side dish to a sandwich. You know how you like to have something that people like chips and sandwiches? If you get some good fermented veggies, you're going to get that satisfaction of a crunch. How often do we have a craving for something crunchy? It is actually that your body remembers what it's like to bite into something and to crunch into something. And if you've ever gone on a diet where you had to take out all of your snack items that you love to crunch on, you'll know you're really craving something crunchy. If you get a couple of carrots, a little scoop of the sauerkraut will be crunchy. You just take a tablespoon of the sauerkraut, a few of the carrots, a few green beans, one of the slices of beets, and something else I absolutely love to ferment, and I don't have any to show you. I need to ferment that. Maybe I'll do that right now when I turn the camera off, is onions. I love to ferment onions. They get that, you know the onion that you get in like a French onion dip? They get that French onion taste to them. And they're really great on sandwiches. They're so good in salads, on sandwiches. These veggies are also really good chopped up and put in a salad. So I hope that I've inspired you guys. I hope that you'll go out and start fermenting some veggies. If you have any questions or comments, just leave them down below this video. And please make sure to go down into the show notes, and I'm gonna attach Nicole's information there so you can go hop on her Facebook page and follow her, and you can start learning about your gut health, your microbiome, and a lot of things you don't know unless you are unless you're a natural health coach. You probably don't know a lot of the stuff that she can talk to you about. And I hope you ferment some veggies. I hope you have a great day. And I think I'm going to be done rambling for now and say thanks for stopping by the homestead. And until next time, bye y'all.